欢迎大家来到 CoinTelegraph 中文 Hub 的直播间。Hub 是一档由 CoinTelegraph 中文发起的线上访谈栏目，焦聚区块链、加密货币的行业领袖人物，探讨当下细分行业赛道的发展机遇与挑战，以及企业如何突破现状，行业引领未来的。我是本期主持人 Ting CoinTelegraph 中文的 CCO。今天 CoinTelegraph 中文邀请到了来自 LABS 和 RioDeFi 的4位嘉宾，他们分别是 LABS 的董事长 Mahesh Harilela 和 CEO 云 Wang，RioDeFi 的 CEO James Anderson 和 CMO Stefan Laurent Villadu。欢迎大家的到来。今天我们的 Hub 的主题是为什么房地产通证化的最佳基石是现在。感谢大家对 CoinTelegraph 中文的支持，精彩马上开始。直播间的评论区将会有抢答环节，第一个答对问题的观众将获得奖励。问题将根据嘉宾对谈话的内容来出，请大家认真观看，及时参与。下面我们就开始今天的对话吧。Welcome guys to CoinTelegraph Hub event. It's what an honor to have four guests from RioDeFi and LABS. And first, would you like to, briefly introduce yourself, who you are to our audience, and your business background? How did you get involved into crypto and etc.? RioDeFi, the screen is on you. So would you like to go first?
Sure. Well, thank you very much, Ting, and it's a pleasure to be here. I'm James Anderson, the CEO of RioDeFi. And I've been in the blockchain space since 2013 when I purchased my first Bitcoin, met Vitalik Buterin, Eric Voorhees, and some other people in 2014 and really got into the Ethereum ecosystem. So I've been an investor in the space for quite some time. And in 2017, I sort of launched full-time into blockchain as an entrepreneur. So I had a business called Blockchain Investor, teaching people how to purchase cryptocurrencies, securely store them, back up their private keys and all that kind of stuff. And then in 2018, I got into social entrepreneurship with a company called Social Evolution that was propagating DAO technologies, so decentralized autonomous organizations, helping other companies and decentralized entrepreneurs to get project feedback and funding. And then with 2019, started RioDeFi with my co-founders, including Stefan, our CMO. And so yeah, it's been a wild ride ever since. So I'll let Stefan share a bit more about him.
Wow,
Thanks.
Nice. Thanks.
My name is Stefan Laurent. I'm a digital marketer. I was working in China in 2017 when I came across Bitcoin and digital currencies. And this is how I gradually got involved into different projects, decentralized applications, and digital infrastructure projects. And the lessons I learned from those experiences also helped me start RioDeFi together with James and Kelvin, our co-founders.
Great, thank you. And we'll move on to LABS.
Hi, my name is Mahesh Harilela. I am born and raised in Hong Kong. I come from a family that is traditionally real estate play. Being that there are so many of us, I branched out into looking at alternative type of products or investments, starting with renewable energy and understanding how we could actually work on creating a beneficial financial return on renewable energy. That brought me into understanding about blockchain and the values that blockchain could present to the world, to companies as well as to people. So with that, I joined LABS Group and sit as the chairman of the company in trying to merge the traditional asset play into the new world of blockchain. And this has been a super exciting ride, being the chair of LABS and working with the team here for the last almost 2 years and creating the product that we're ready to go now. So thank you very much for having me on board and having us to come into this interview. It's really an honor and a pleasure. Thank you.
Very cool. Thanks.
And thanks to CoinTelegraph for having us. My name is Yuan. I'm a Singaporean living in Hong Kong. So I have always been in e-commerce in the past years. Yeah. And then we got involved in blockchain since 2017. And I was a partner of an exchange. Yep. So through that experience, I come across a lot of blockchain projects. I know what makes and breaks a blockchain project. So I was always looking for how blockchain can change or disrupt the industry. And that's how we come across this idea and wanted to use this project to change things for the better. Thanks.
Very, very cool. And you know, our topic today is talking about real estate, and why is it the perfect timing for tokenizing real estate right now? And you're both, you know, working labs. Your project is dedicated to this topic, and RioDeFi, you're also in the DeFi space. So I think it's perfect for us to have this discussion with you guys. And before we get into the details, why don't you explain to us what kind of problems is your project trying to solve? You're talking about, you know, bringing blockchain and DeFi into the real asset. And so could you be more specific about what kind of problems you're trying to solve here?
Maybe I take the lead on this. For me, blockchain, I'm not as early as James has been in 2013, but coming into understanding about blockchain around 2016, I actually saw the benefit that blockchain can present to investors, whether you're a value investor or whether you're a consumer or whether you are just a man on the street or a woman on the street for that matter, that it actually provides ownership entitlement to the individual. When I look at companies that if you were to buy a property in Hong Kong, you would go through the government registrars, and then that would be listed on the corporate and ownership registries, land registries. But you'd have to spend a lot of time to go in and investigate the plot of lands and the variety of information that you have to source through to be able to discover who actually owns. Now, if we look at blockchain, we put property on top of the blockchain. We're actually able to understand the ownership changes that have taken place and how that value of information, accessibility to information becomes so instant that any consumer who wants to buy on for short-term or middle-term or long-term access, this platform is this avenue of information availability is one of the key provisions that would allow this industry to blossom and bloom. So I think it's bringing the technology to the people where people don't understand it yet, but it's allowing the biggest asset class to be the driver in expanding what blockchain could actually mean for the future.
And so you're saying individuals now can actually own properties very easily through Bitcoin, through blockchain.
At lower threshold, yes, at lower threshold, because barriers to entry can be very high. So coming in to own a part of a property, it could be in terms of a collective of individuals who come together that want to own a property. Whereas if you were to traditionally buy one, then you would have to set up a corporation that then owns assets, and then you have to face the double taxations that every government or every country would add, or you can come in as an individual and buy that. And when you're doing so, you're actually putting a very large chunk of cash down as a deposit. Whereas in this structure, we can collectively create a tokenized module where individuals can come in and buy a fraction of that property, rather than going through the due diligence and understanding who the partner relationships are and trying to qualify and verify, especially in a market which is growing and developing. So I think blockchain actually acts as a true value set that individuals can actually participate in a flash.
Okay. And Yun, thank you for the explanation. Would you like to, Yun, add more comment on that?
Yep, sure. Yep. So how we started this business is actually very simple. First, the team is firstly blockchain people, and then we complete the team later. Yep. So we started this labs project since 2018. Like what I said, we come up with something. We look at the industry and see how blockchain can disrupt certain industry. And when we look at the real estate industry, we look at a few pain points. Okay, the first one being that real estate is very, very illiquid. Second, the entry level is very high, and then of course the transaction cost is also very high, and it's extremely hard to do cross-border investment into property, not to mention the management. So we look at all these four main pain points. We think whether blockchain can improve this industry, and the answer is a simple yes. And that's how we started. Yeah, we went on to perfect the team. We went on to form more partnership. We went on to perfect the concept, and here we are. Thank you.
So you're saying, as an individual, I'm in Italy right now. I can invest through labs into a property somewhere in Singapore with a fraction of capital.
Yes, you got it right. Perfect. Yeah.
Very cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, one Japanese can invest in a property in London, vice versa, or in fact anywhere in the world, as long as we got the digitization done. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I got the picture, but I will go to the details later of more questions for that.
Sure.
But thank you for the explanation. And RioDeFi?
Sure. Well, RioDeFi is bridging the gap between traditional and decentralized finance, and I think part of this is the tokenization of real estate. So that's why we're very excited to be, partnered with Labs to help bring their project to fruition on the blockchain. Because one of the key problems with many existing blockchains is that you have slow transaction times, network congestion, and often very high gas fees. These transaction fees. And if you're doing properties at a global scale, you're talking trillions of dollars of assets. You really need the blockchain to be efficient and be able to process thousands of transactions per second. You need to have the gas fees be, pennies rather than dollars, or even less than pennies. This kind of thing, especially if you want to pay out yields, right? So, for having real estate plus DeFi, this is going to enable you to use property, for instance, as collateral to be able to take out loans against it. So we have another one of our partners, Mantra DAO. They're building on top of RioChain as well. And so we see a future in which, you could put your property tokens as collateral, take out a loan, and use that to buy Bitcoin. Then you can use your Bitcoin profits to buy more property. So you have this sort of, cycle that you can kind of use to get more liquidity out of your assets. So, we're looking with RioDeFi to continue connecting blockchains to each other so that there's interoperability between blockchains, so that they're not just siloed systems. They actually, can send assets and messages across each other. So we do that through the Polkadot network. And then we're also interested in connecting these blockchains to banking institutions and other financial institutions that can allow blockchains to really grow and thrive to the next level, because you really need this smooth flow between sort of the traditional currencies and the cryptocurrencies, right? So the on and off ramps have traditionally been a problem, and that's something that we at RioDeFi are solving.
Yeah,
Okay.
to touch on what James just said, I think it made total sense when we were approached by Labs to collaborate over this tokenized real estate project. Given the type of application we've been working on, especially with Mantra DAO, it seemed there was a perfect complementarity between the perfectly liquid, instant, and global transaction system that blockchain and cryptocurrencies enable, and the traditionally illiquid and slow paced real estate industry. And we saw there is a number of adequation between both industries that represent, in my view, a great business opportunity.
Mm-hmm. So money making money.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
I want to summarize, right? Basically, Labs is good, but RioDeFi makes us better.
Less transaction fees for individuals and participating in a global scale real estate tokenization. That's very cool. In history, if we look at the industry itself, we've seen several attempts in the past for projects to try to tokenize real estate in the past. But why do you think it right now is the perfect timing? Because, you know, for Labs, I understand you have recently raised 60 million USD at the first round of funding, putting into starting this project. And why do you think there's so much excitement in putting so much money in real estate right now, tokenization of real estate right now?
Yep. So just a correction, although I had hoped what you said was true. So we did raise 6 million, not 60. Yeah. Anyway, we did raise that money within a very short span of time. That means that the peers are very interested in our project and look at our potential. Yeah. So with that, when you mentioned about the timing, I think everything is very important. We have to really look at the timing. Like in the past, certain e-commerce project, I don't know, maybe you look so young, right? So I was born much earlier than you. So I remember, still can recall the days of Boo.com and all this, when they started too early and the market wasn't ready. You know, at that time, they were trying to do, you know, things like, you know, having the mannequin turn around and showcase the clothing and all this. But it was thought, the technology was not ready at that time. But when we look at the current time, you know, people are more, when it comes to digital currencies, people are more accepting towards this. And more institutions are coming into Bitcoin and all this. Yeah. So the timing is perfect right now. Yeah. And also, I hate to say this, the COVID situation does help our business, because right now, property developers are more willing to talk. You know, they will sit down and listen to us. They are looking for alternative ways, you know, to raise funds for, you know, for their business here. Yeah. So everything is about timing. That's what I have to say here.
Very interesting. Yeah. Go ahead.
Just one more point. I think infrastructure is very important as well. The corporate infrastructure of having the financial availability through RioDeFi, having a platform that we can actually load properties or have property owners come on board. I think to Yun's point, being that timing being critical, is that the market has matured to the point that we understand that everything has to be done through the net and through blockchain being a valid source of validating data, information storage, and transparency. So that's really, I think, everything coming together at the right time.
Reminds me of the book of The Tipping Point, written by Malcolm Gladwell, and he was saying how, you know, industries or any business, if you want a success, it's all about the best timing. What about regulation-wise? Is regulation, you know, on a government level, is also ready for this? How would you foresee?
It's changing, right? I mean, regulations are adapting and changing. We look at Singapore, how it's come up and decided that they're able now to accept exchanges in the banking system and the regulation. We've seen in Hong Kong with the stock exchange approving for fund management of cryptocurrencies. So we know that it's a constant change. Too early in the day without much knowledge or understanding is one aspect, but as knowledge and information flow and having people like you share stories and inform and create that informative aspect. Blockchain is not about ripping people off. It's not a crypto that is based on trying to make short-term money. It's really now validating that the exchanges, the legal framework, structures of companies, the teams behind it, the reputations, all coming together to actually create a new understanding that will then allow laws to be put into place that will allow the sector to grow, as well as provide the protection that the consumer requires. And I think it's really all about that. So we're, again, timing is always everything, as Malcolm Gladwell always says, right? But we could be at the cusp of that tipping point You have institutional businesses. You look at what Elon Musk has done with Tesla in its industry of converting electric cars into becoming mainstream, where all the major gas heads rebutted and fought against this. But Tesla is now a ready everyday product. And then a few weeks ago, announcing that Bitcoin is an interesting platform for him to be able to use as a utility of exchange to buy his goods. So here we are. Why not property? Why not the largest fundamental asset class in the world, which is really at the right time that people can, or investors can actually look at? And we're really at the point where institutions as well as individuals can actually participate in this program.
Perfect. And 6 million, correction again, that you have raised for the first private round of funding. Is that possible to disclose? Who are the main investors in Labs?
So we have Genesis Block Ventures, and we all know that they have acquired OMG, and then of course we have Plutus VC. We also have a New York Stock Exchange list code, and they own like a property portfolio worth I think it was like $1 billion USD worth. And we also have some blockchain KOL, including box mining. And we have other property developers investing in us as well. So you see, we are very practical business people. We know we need all kind of people to support us in our idea, in making this dream into a reality. Of course, we have our friends here at RioDeFi giving us all sort of support, technical wise, and very important spiritual wise as well. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. So RioDeFi, you have a huge ecosystem here. Just by briefly talking to you guys, you're working with the real estate project, and you're involving other DeFi projects such as Mantra DAO. Can you give us more details of what's your ecosystem look like, and what are the technical and services that you're providing to your partners here?
Sure. So RioChain is sort of the underlying layer of the whole RioDeFi ecosystem. So it's a substrate-based blockchain, which is built around the Polkadot network. So we plan to become a parachain of the Polkadot network later this year. And we're very excited to be a part of this, interoperability of blockchains. It's been talked about for a long time, but I think Polkadot is really bringing that to fruition, along with the Kusama network and the things that they're doing there. So we're quite excited about this next phase of blockchain's evolution, because it's really, connecting the networks together is going to take the whole industry to a new level, because you have these sort of different communities, each with their own benefits, each with their own, set of members. And now, the exponentiality comes from uniting them together under this shared banner. So we're very excited about that. So that's RioChain. And with RioChain, we can process up to 3,000 transactions per second. The block speed is 2 seconds. So very fast transactions. They cost 0.1 Rio Fuel, or R Fuel. This is our native platform token. So it's sort of the blood that pumps through our ecosystem and powers everything. It's similar to Ether. It's a gas token that's used to pay for transaction fees and for smart contracts within the network. And it's used by the validators for processing. They get it as a reward for processing transactions. So that's our chain. And then we also have Rio Wallet, which will have both the desktop and a mobile version for iOS and Android. So we'll be releasing those in the coming weeks, the updated version of our desktop wallet, and then our new versions of our mobile wallets. We're also working with Rio Pay, which is an ecosystem that's going to be connecting merchants to have payment options, to be able to accept cryptocurrencies and receive fiat currencies in their accounts. So this is similar to the work that's being done by other companies. Obviously, PayPal has moved very heavily into the blockchain space. MasterCard is moving quite rapidly, as well as Visa have all announced that they're going to be helping to process cryptocurrency payments. So similarly, we think they're going to start with the more major cryptocurrencies. So we want to allow better liquidity for other cryptocurrencies, such as our fuel itself, as well as the tokens like LABS and other tokens within the Polkadot ecosystem, especially. So, with RioPay, there's another piece as well, which is our debit card. So we'll be launching that within Q2 this year. So we're working on the art and everything else, but and all the tiers of membership for that. So we're very excited about this ability to have interconnected ecosystems, because when you have each company on its own, there's only so much you can get out of it. But when you bring all these services together under one roof, it allows really the liquidity, the flow of assets. When you can take a loan against your real estate and spend it from a debit card, from your digital wallet directly as well. This is a very powerful thing to be able to unlock the liquidity of traditionally illiquid assets. So, it's something we're very excited about. And yeah, Stefan, I think you could probably share some of the other things we're doing this year, and especially this quarter.
Yeah, I think there is the way I look at it, we are trying to make the technology side more potent and address some of the inadequacies of existing blockchain infrastructures to service mass scale industries and adoption. And then on the other end, we also want to bridge the other side of the gap by acquiring the licenses that will allow us to operate under various jurisdictions and develop, besides those technologies, all the services, the payment rails, all the infrastructure that will really help connect the blockchain and DeFi world with the traditional financial and banking system. So this is really where we position ourselves.
Interesting. And you're not only trying to provide a technical solution for projects, but also you're on a different level, such as regulation and stuff, and you're providing that kind of services to partners as well. So that's very interesting. And now my next question is, why do you think RioDeFi and LABS partnership is a mutual beneficial and an attractive one?
Yeah. So I think put it very simply, technology is just technology without solving any industrial pain points, right? And yet, business solutions without the tech support, you can't achieve much as well, right? So from what I see, this is a perfect marriage, unless our dear friends at RioDeFi disagree, right? Yeah. So look, business solutions coupled with technology solutions, that's just perfect. And then together we can address all the pain points that I just outlined previously. Yeah. So that's my take here.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, the ability to have one of the most innovative real estate tokenization projects in the world so far, come onto RioChain. Obviously, we're very excited about that. And, I think further in this interview, Ewan has some things he was sharing with me earlier that I'm sure he'll be excited to share about, but they're doing something that's not been done before in the blockchain industry as well as in real estate. So, taking some of the most up-to-date trends in DeFi and in the cryptocurrency space and applying them to real estate, I think it's quite exciting. And I think it'll showcase the power of RioChain to have these kind of functionalities on it, because what other blockchains have experienced lately is this network congestion and very high fees, and so that rules out certain types of things you can do. If you have someone that wants to purchase real estate with just $100, for a token of real estate, a fractional piece, that's going to be difficult if the gas fees are costing you $50 for that transaction. You've basically eaten away at your entire profit margin over the next few years. So we think that by having a business case like LABS on RioChain, it's going to take the whole ecosystem to another level.
And so just thinking out loud here, you know, traditionally for individuals, especially in Asia, you're all in Asia, you understand the culture of Asian, they'd like to own property, not just like a fraction of it, not just $100 of it. And how would you see, you know, I have two questions here. The first is, how would you see that culture changing from owning one whole property to just owning a fraction of it? Do you think that's also the trend here? And my second question is, now, how does individuals benefit from this project? For instance, if someone has already owned several properties here in Europe and they want to liquidate that, they want to sell it instantly, and how does that work? How does, you know, what would be the process? I know you have already just started this project, but what would be the future look like if someone wants to liquidate their property, not just a fraction of it, let's say 1 or 2 or 3, how would they be able to do that? So LABS.
Can I just take your first question and break that down a little further, because you're absolutely right. Asian people do want to buy, own, and play in the property market. Being in Hong Kong, we see this as the primary driver in all economic gain and all economic return. Now, the issue, one of the ways that we break this up, or we allow availability to be presented, is the platform in which we can now have people list properties, or properties that are listed can be acquired directly by those type of investors who want to buy the whole. So they participate in an offering rather than waiting for a private sale transaction to be available, and for someone from one of the big property agencies knock on your door, or you going around and looking to acquire property. The availability of information on a platform gives you instant accessibility. Now, if you want to participate as a whole, it's every right. If you want to buy that token or buy those those variations of the token that make up the property, it's up to you. It's up to the investor. So if there's a property that's out there, it costs you 30 tokens to buy 30%, go ahead, buy that 30%. No one's stopping you or restricting you. Now, if there is a property that is very, very attractive, and your availability to participate, that means your capital capability, is limited to only 10%, you need another group of parties to come in and put in the balance 20%. Here you have it. You have the technology in the platform that allows participants to collectively aggregate in that property, to buy together. So information being available, availability to buy is up to the individual or investor, and the availability to have a fractional ownership of a property, which you would never have been able to buy, is also available on this platform. That's really how we want to address the marketplace. The second part of the question is, sorry, can you repeat the second part of the question one more time, please?
Liquidating for individuals who own properties and they want to use your platform to sell.
Well, that's it. List it, put it up there. You have a huge ecosystem available to you, the financing side of it, the exchange of currencies, cryptocurrencies. You have the legal framework that exists within that. So list your property instead of having to engage in exclusivity to one aspect and having those people run around, or those entities run around. You have now a platform where there's an ecosystem as well as a market play that is global rather than just localized. And I think this is really what we're trying to address and going this way. I'll leave it to you to add more.
Maybe I'll explain what exactly is LABS, right? Okay, so LABS, the 4 letters, LABS, actually stands for Liquefying Asset-Backed Securities. So LABS is basically a digitized real estate investment ecosystem that is comprised of a few layers. The first one being a primary platform, which is our issuance and crowdfunding platform. And that's meant for early stage property projects, that maybe you got a piece of land, you got a permits from the government, and you need to to raise funds to build that. Instead of going to the banks, you can come to us, and we help the projects to raise funds, And of course, with higher rates, there's always the chance of a higher return. That's what we always tell our investors here. So, and then we have the secondary platform, which is our exchange, right? That we would allow, people to, straight away trade their properties, digitize properties directly, and offer to the peers, whoever is interested in property investment with any denomination. Of course, we set it at 100 US because there's business and admin costs here. And then we want to introduce the DeFi components, and that's why we work with our dear friends at RioDeFi. We want to allow our investors to do leveraging. So how they do it? They can stake their property tokens, and then they can borrow against those property tokens and get refinancing, and then reinvest into other property tokens. So because we look at the traditional property investment sector, they could mortgage their property, with the banks, and then get a second mortgage and then reinvest. We don't want this to be just reserved to the few privileged ones or the few selected ones or the rich ones like Mr. Harry Lela here, right? We want it to be for everyone. We want to make real estate for everyone. And that's why we want to introduce all these components to help innovate this sector and make our vision become real, which is make real estate for everyone.
That's very clear to me. So when are you going to launch? What's the roadmap look like in the near future? And I know that your labs is using a launch pads like DAO and Mantra DAO launch pads for its public sale before listing on Uniswap. And so could you tell us more about the upcoming roadmap for you guys?
Sure, yeah. So our crowdfunding platform is ready. We're just waiting for the perfect time to showcase to the world, to show people that we are real, and we have been building this since 2018. Yep. And with the Launchpad collaboration, because like what I said, we are a crowdfunding platform and we are in blockchain. We always believe that the peer should have the power versus just, So we don't want the power to stay with a selected few, right? Yeah. So that's why we go with Mantra DAO, Dark DAO, and Pools and all this, because they are what they define themselves as, right? A decentralized VC. We want everyone to play a part in this movement, in making financial inclusion possible. So in future, as long as you have a digital wallet, you have internet connection, you can invest in the largest asset class, which is worth 228 trillion USD. And again, our friends at RioDeFi, they will help us into making this a reality here.
Thanks.
So maybe our friends at RioDeFi can share more on how you guys are going to help us, in making this one of the largest projects on blockchain.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the key components is the fiat currency payment rails, right? Like you need to get money into the system, into these digital currencies if you want to be able to invest in tokenized real estate. So we're building the payment rails. We have partnerships with companies like MoonPay, Simplex, to be able to bring cryptocurrencies into the ecosystem. We're also working with various trust companies to enable very easy movement of funds from all over Southeast Asia, Europe, and even globally. So, to be able to convert all different types of traditional currencies into cryptocurrencies to then be able to invest in these property assets. One thing Labs is doing that's quite unique is that, for someone like myself, that's, a foreigner to somewhere like Thailand, right? You can't actually own property as a foreigner, certain types of property. I know there's restrictions, and many countries in Southeast Asia especially have these kind of restrictions where you can't buy property as an outsider, or you certainly cannot get access to financing very easily. So you have to use these special corporate structures or these kind of complex deals. So Labs takes care of all of that for you. So myself, it's very easy to put funds then into this piece of tokenized real estate. And that way I can sort of diversify my portfolio much easier rather than having to, purchase an entire piece of property in Vietnam, for instance, and not be able to get a loan on it. Instead, I can purchase a little bit in Vietnam, a little bit in Thailand, a little bit in Singapore, and I can have a diversified portfolio that I curate rather than leaving it up to a bunch of bankers. And then, the thing with mortgages, right? If you want to take a refinancing, if you want to refinance your home or you want to get a loan out against it, usually the costs of doing so are quite high because there's a lot of middlemen you have to work through. If you have to do the closing again for like a refinancing, that's quite expensive, so being able to get access to that capital easily and access that's adjustable, to the varying market rates, that's huge, right? And so through smart contracts on RioChain, this is going to enable a lot of the automated technology that Labs is looking to do. We'll be porting over, everything that they've built already. They did a lot of work on Ethereum. We actually, with RioChain, we have Ethereum virtual machine support, so we can actually port over those smart contracts from the Ethereum network onto RioChain very easily. And so we're very much looking forward to doing that with them and, empowering many new investors to be able to purchase real estate and have access to this, greatest wealth builder traditionally through history, right? The appreciation of real estate assets. And why do those assets appreciate, right? It's because, governments around the world are printing money, right? So this is why things like, Bitcoin are serving as a great hedge against inflation. And, our ecosystem gives people access to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as well. So we're very excited about that, yeah.
Yeah, I think the tokenization of real estate is very much the next stage of the digitization of the global economy. And I think the paradigm shift that it causes is also related to the question you were asking a moment ago, which relates to the broader question of how the internet is changing the global economy. About 20 years ago, companies like Amazon disrupted the business model of brick and mortars, bookstores. They were the largest bookstore in the world, and they didn't have actually any inventory. And I think what cryptocurrency and Bitcoin have done is they have changed the paradigm of how money works. You have a currency that's also a store of value. And these paradigm shifts are quite hard to adjust or to adapt to. And now we're moving into fractional ownership of real estate. The idea that you don't have to either own a property in full or not being able to have any part in this real estate or in this asset class. Now there is the possibility using blockchain technology to fractionalize the ownership of real estate. So this is one of the many disruptions the internet is bringing to the financial world. So this is, and I think especially with this particular asset class, because real estate is probably the most ubiquitous asset that we can find globally. It's very exciting to see this shift happen.
Would you say the token for Labs, for instance, is a utility token or a non-fungible token? Because NFT is a new trend here in the industry. And do you have any position in these trends, both for RioDeFi and Labs? And where lies the future of NFTs, and any plans for, putting your token as an NFT type of token here?
Yep. So maybe let me start with sharing with you guys what is the Labs token, right? And what it said, it is indeed a utility token. So look at us. We are very practical business people, So we have come up with this very unique hybrid system, right? So when you look at Labs within our ecosystem, all those property tokens, they are actually security token. There's no denying, yeah. So we'll be tokenizing because all those tokens are asset backed, and they bring yields, yeah. So they are ST in short. But Labs tokens, we come up with a very unique business model. We call that the GAINS model, yeah, GAINS, which stands for governance, access. That means early access to the projects that we are introducing. And then we have the I for incentives, and for nomination. We will reward all those people who nominate projects to us. And if we get involved in them, we'll reward accordingly. And as for staking for reward, right? All the labs token holders, they can stake the tokens in the staking pool, and then we would use the ecosystem profit to conduct the buyback and distribute to them. So with that, we balance the interest of our short-term speculators, and also mid to long terms in blockchain speak, the hodlers. So when it comes to NFT, we are not NFT, but within our ecosystem, we might introduce the NFT concept. So one good example would be using NFT in a hotel scenario. So we can use each NFT to represent each individual hotel rooms, because we know hotel rooms are next to me is a hotel tycoon. Maybe he can share more, right? So each room, you have the presidential suite, you have the family room on each level will bring different income, right? So we would attribute the room income directly to the NFT wallet or NFT holder, and then we can design, the time sharing benefit onto all those NFT, So I think that's a perfect use of an NFT, and we want to be the first to do this.
The timing is coming. I could not agree more with you. The timing is coming for NFTs in the real estate side of it. If I share one example, in a typical hotel in Hong Kong, average occupancy being 70% throughout the year in the last few years until 2019. If a hotel operator could actually create an NFT for the balance 30% that ordinarily sits empty, they can actually create a valued income to come into the owner's pocket, the property developer's pocket. And there are ways to actually work that. So I think timing is very, very important. And I think if we bridge into the NFT sector, this would be a very attractive sector that we could actually introduce it into. And I think timing is not too far away. It's coming.
So you're saying...
by the way, RioDeFi is not our only lever, okay? We have another lever, So we have formed a strategic partnership with the largest NFT project, which is Engine, and they will support us in our movement to make this into a reality,
So you're saying if I stay in a hotel, I can collect my memory of that room through your NFT?
Yes. Like your special moments, like your Valentine's Day, we can actually, enter onto the blockchain so that it will all forever stay there. But we hope that this loving memory will stay loving, right? I hope that you will not become a sad memory one day.
Cool.
Yeah, I think Yoon was sharing with me some of his ideas the other day, and it was quite exciting. This idea of like timeshares with NFTs, where you could, for instance, a lot of these timeshare programs in the United States, and I'm sure other countries as well, they sell you these points, and these points generally go down in value right when you buy them. I mean, not to be hard on the timeshare industry, but there are all these sorts of restrictions around being able to use them, and the resale value is not great. They try to lock you into their ecosystem. What I like about NFTs is it opens this up to the entire world. So if you buy a timeshare in a specific property, or you buy a timeshare into a portfolio of properties, sort of like hotel groups do all the time, they give you this system of points. Those points become very difficult to resell within their walled garden. But with blockchains, with Engine, with OpenSea, with Rarible, and other platforms for selling NFTs, this opens up the ability to make these points or these timeshares super liquid, so that they actually have a real fundamental value. Being able to have the ability to swap these more easily, it's going to allow the market to grow, I think, exponentially, because who wouldn't want a nice vacation home, or in Thailand, or in Hong Kong, or this kind of thing? I mean, it's a beautiful environment. And so, I really love this idea of marrying the NFTs with properties. And with RioDeFi, we're very much excited about the NFT space. We ourselves are moving into NFTs as well. For a lot of the products that we'll be launching, they'll have commemorative NFTs that come with real benefits. So, whether it be a yield that's, a higher yield based on For instance, if with Rio Wallet, we're going to have these DeFi pools where people can stake assets with us to access liquidity provision protocols like Uniswap, these decentralized exchanges, to be able to generate yields in various cryptocurrencies. With an NFT, you might be able to increase, boost that yield a bit. And we have a number of other ideas with our debit card to have an NFT associated with that for various premium tier levels. And basically, anything within our ecosystem to help build loyalty as well as to give more benefits to our users. We think NFTs are great. So this is something I purchased an ungodly number of crypto kitties back in 2017 at their all-time high. I was playing around trying to breed them. The Ethereum gas fees were quite high at that time as well. And so I spent a lot just trying to breed these kitties to get something rare, right? At the time, the best thing I could hope for was a resale of that NFT. But now you have NFTs that are powered by DeFi protocols, NFTs with yields and airdrops and other benefits attached to them. So it's really taken the sort of, rare collectible art or card game sort of NFTs, and now they're evolved to a new level in 2021 where they have all these additional benefits tied to them. So we're very excited about this, and we're definitely doing a lot moving forward. You'll see a lot in Q2, especially from RioDeFi in terms of NFTs.
And I like to think of the NFT trend as the equivalent of the internet going social in the early 2000s. Like originally, the internet allowed sharing of data and information, and then eventually people starting putting and displaying their life and socializing on the internet. Now, since Bitcoin emerged more than a decade ago, the internet is really tackling the digitalization of assets and money. And now with NFTs, what's happening is we see these assets and these money having an image, having a face, and those NFTs, I think, kind of address a need that's the crypto industry, but more generally, the internet needs to put the real life actually on the internet and have interactions which allow people to connect emotionally with assets and not just with bits of data and numbers. That's why I think I believe NFTs are really going to be a major trend, not just for the blockchain, but for the entire internet.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's a very insightful thought, I think, on NFTs. So my last question for both of you, is there any announcement that you would like to tell our audience or recent highlights for your project? So this is the time to announce, I guess.
I'm waiting for this moment,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the next few days, we are ready to showcase our platform. Yep. And then we'll have our biggest event, which is the luxury resorts giveaway, as a lucky draw for the liquidity providers. Yeah. Yes, we are crazy. Yeah. We will be the first blockchain project to give away a resort unit in Phuket. And as you can see, we are desperate, because we are desperate into making this dream into reality. So we want to make big noise, and we want CoinTelegraph to help us, in spreading this, so that everybody will know that Labs want to make it into a successful project and want to make real estate for everyone. Yeah, we will be announcing the rules in the next day or two. Yeah, and the event will be held in a fair play, fair launch. We have a third party to audit that, it's not an inside job. We definitely can't be in play, right? So, but you can, right? Yeah, not the RioDeFi guys and not the Labs guys. Yeah. A fair chance for everyone. Yeah. So we hope that everyone can participate in this, and we have more partnership news coming. Yeah. Some with the largest blockchain projects in the world, partnering with us. And also we'll announce a strategic partnership with a New York Stock Exchange listed company, as well. So in short, stay tuned. Thanks.
Exciting. Thank you for announcing this and sharing the good news. Thanks. We're looking forward to that.
And also, you hear it first here through CoinTelegraph.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you. Cool. Breaking news. Stay tuned, guys. Okay, real DeFi?
Yeah, sure. So we have an exciting announcement, which is that we've just connected to the Rococo V1's parachain testnet. So this is the first step toward becoming a parachain. So we've been running a couple of Rococo validator nodes, and now we're connected to that network. So we're gearing up for the launch of parachains later this year, and this will allow for that interoperability we spoke about before with the broader Polkadot ecosystem, and allow other networks to plug into RioChain to have access to send their transaction data up to this multi-billion-dollar network to be able to secure that data. So this is quite exciting and something we've been working toward for a long time. So that's something we're happy to share. And then we've actually, as of the date of this video, also relaunched the new version of the Rio desktop wallet. So this will allow many enhanced features compared to the sort of V1. So we have new staking features that are coming online. We have cross-chain transactions, being able to move Bitcoin onto RioChain to transact at the speed of RioChain, as well as Ethereum or Ether, I should say, and other assets. So we were very excited about this. So if you haven't already, please go download a Rio wallet and give it a try.
Cool. Exciting for all this great news coming from both of you, and we're looking forward to having this dialogue in the near future, and catch up with your development of the projects. And I think helping the individuals getting into the real estate and really liberating this whole market for everyone to hold a fraction of piece of real estate globally, and getting them into the decentralized finance and making more money for everyone. I think it's exciting. And with NFTs, like Stefan said, you're socializing, making this whole kind of virtual thing becoming more social. It's another aspect of moving forward this industry. I think it's you guys are doing a wonderful job here, and wishing you good luck, and we hope to have this dialogue again soon. And thank you for sharing, everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for hosting us.
Okay. Yeah, 好的。那么我们今天的 Hub 圆桌对话的所有的内容就到此结束。谢谢嘉宾们的精彩分享，也感谢支持我们 Hub 直播的所有媒体小伙伴，金色财经、火星财经、星球日报、Token Club、深链、链得得等等，还有我们的社区伙伴滴滴社区、立场。谢谢大家的大力支持。然后获得奖励的观众不要忘记添加我们的工作人员领奖。然后微信号在评论区。谢谢大家，下次我们 Hub 直播再见。Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.